welcome. I would like to welcome my guest, Matt Capelouto, to this recording. He's a small business owner and resident of Temecula, California. He is the father of 4 daughters. He's married to Christine, the love of his life. And he's been very, very active since December of 2019. So welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
And I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind, I mean, people that watch this YouTube channel know that I talk to people who have had a life-changing, life-altering experience, and how they've managed to go on in their lives and what they're creating out of that tragedy. So would you mind telling us about your daughter, Alex, and why you're on this call?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I have 4 daughters. Alexandra, she was a great kid. She, for all intents and purposes, normal kid growing up here in Temecula, which is, a nice suburb community. Went through the Temecula Valley School District school system. Graduated from high school at Great Oak High School, which is a known high school for high academic achievement. Alex grew up playing sports, got good grades, got almost perfect SAT scores. Her almost perfect SAT scores got her a full academic scholarship to Arizona State University. Alex, though, like I said, she had pretty much a normal childhood. She was diagnosed with anxiety and insomnia in her early teenage years, and depression as well. But she seemed to still be able to function fine, and it didn't cause a lot of problems in her childhood growing up, externally at least. Internally, there's probably some issues there, but she covered it well. Like I said, she got herself into Arizona State University on a full academic scholarship. She was 20 years old and at home for Christmas break. She had just come home 3 days before Christmas. And on December 23rd, on December 22nd, she spent the day Christmas shopping with my wife. They had a great day together. Laughed, everything girls do when they're shopping all day. That night, I came home from work, saw my daughter. She told me how excited she was for Christmas, shared with me some of the items that she bought. Everything was good, and for all intents and purposes, it was another normal day, a little excitement because it's 2 days before Christmas, and everybody went to bed. Next morning, I got up, did my routine, nothing out of the normal, and went to work. And about 10:30 in the morning, got one of the worst phone calls a father could ever hear from my youngest daughter, Sky. She called and said, "Dad, get home. Alex is dead." And man, that was rough. I literally was just pulling in the driveway at my shop, and I just, in shock, turned around and hit the gas and drove home as fast as I could. Entering my neighborhood, I could see sirens, police, ambulance, whatnot out in front of my house. Ran inside. Door was closed. They wouldn't let us in, wouldn't let me in. It all sort of seems like a fog in a certain sense. But from that day forward, my life was forever changed. And my wife was the one who, just like doing the normal mom thing. Hey, it's kind of getting late in the morning. Went in to wake her up, and she was just slunched over her little tray for taking off makeup that she was apparently doing before going to bed.
Oh my goodness. What a shock. What a shock. And then the scene that you described too, when you get the call and you're just filled with anxiety and stress and adrenaline. That's the word I'm looking for, adrenaline. And then you get home, and then you can't touch her, you can't see her, you can't do anything. You've got a house full of detectives.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
So after a couple hours, everybody was sort of in hysterics, but detective basically comes down, sets my wife and I down, and says our daughter died of an overdose.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So, I was reflecting back, I've never done drugs in my life. Always have taught my kids, stay away from drugs. They're dangerous. And so that's what we kind of initially went with it at first. This is an overdose, and, what do we do? And the detective had given us his card and basically said, good luck in life, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Over the next few days, things weren't sitting well with me, and I'm gradually thinking a little more coherently, and I'm thinking, this is wrong. Even if it's an overdose, somebody gave her this stuff. There's a crime here. Somebody's dealing illicit drugs, and my wife and I, we had to go to my daughter's dorm about 2 weeks later to clean everything out, and I'm doing what I think is the detective dad thing to do. I'm going to find out here at this college dorm who's the drug dealer. I want to find out who this is. And got there, we cleaned out her dorm at ASU and had to drive home with all our stuff. I wasn't successful in finding out who the drug dealer was. But by this time, we were finally able to get into her phone, which we weren't able to do at first because we were locked out. And we knew the phone would say something. And sure enough, it did. We got into her phone, and we were able to see that the drug dealer, that Alex didn't bring the drugs home with her from Arizona State University. The drug dealer actually delivered them to our house.
Oh my God.
So I like to explain it in a way where, everybody's familiar with these dining delivery places. Grubhub's a big name. Well, there's literally Drug Hub. A couple of clicks on the phone these days, and you can have it delivered right to your house.
So it was through Snapchat?
Through Snapchat. Yeah, she coordinated with the drug dealer through Snapchat.
Yeah.
So something I want to make clear here, something that we've since found out, because my daughter's case is being investigated criminally right now. We were able to find out that in her conversation with the drug dealer, she was seeking Percocet. Drug dealer responded and said he had Percocet. Basically, we've found out through the toxicology report, there was no Percocet, no pharmaceutical grade anything. Her toxicity report showed that it was pure fentanyl, and enough fentanyl to kill 5 people. They said most likely she didn't suffer. She didn't live long. It didn't even have time to metabolize in her system. It was so much, she just pretty much died instantly. So it's shocking.
She may have been looking for Percocet because you described earlier depression, anxiety. So something that she knew, she just wanted to get one of those and, take care of herself.
Yeah, she was self-medicating. We believe she just wanted a good night rest. She wanted to sleep.
Yeah.
She always suffered from insomnia and trouble sleeping. She had just come off finals at school. So it wasn't like and I want to distinguish, a lot of people assume when somebody, dies overdose drugs, they're out partying, having a good time.
Right.
No, that wasn't the case.
She was home. She was literally home with you guys. She was,
She was in her bedroom.
Yeah.
In her bedroom.
So now the thing, this is what, is striking to me about your story is, over the years, I've watched John Walsh, and you remind me of him only in that, what always penetrated my heart was John Walsh of America's Most Wanted. He says that he will always be the parent of a murdered child. And he set out the rest of his life to find criminals that abduct children, because that's what happened to his son. and your passion about learning about something that you had no information about, fentanyl, and where it comes from, and how the drug, and Grubhub, and
Yeah.
all of these things that now you're learning because you want to know. And I think a lot of people, a lot of parents will really relate to you also, in that even when a child dies of other causes, we become like detectives. We want to know what happened, what exactly happened the night that tragedy happened, because we're the protectors. We're supposed to protect our children. And oh my gosh,
Yeah,
so then what did you
absolutely.
learn?
My life's done a 180. I never thought it would go this direction, and that I would have learned the things that I've already learned, and continue to learn new things every day. You know, my passion at this point is to make these cases seen by our judicial system and law enforcement, to make them look at this as a crime. Because initially, and although my daughter's case is being investigated criminally at this point, it was not initially. It was simply just looked at as an overdose. And because of that, in the initial stages of the investigation, since it's not looked at criminally, a lot of evidence is lost. Evidence that can make it much easier to convict the drug dealer of a serious crime, such as second-degree murder, and be able to lock him up for a long period of time.
Right.
During this time right now, as the investigation goes on, the drug dealer's still out there selling stuff. And unfortunately, there's a very strong possibility that more people die.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for your work. Now I know since this all happened, you started, or you're part of a nonprofit
Yeah.
organization called Drug Induced Homicide. And would you mind showing your shirt? You've got a shirt with a logo, and
Druginducedhomicide.org is the website.
yeah,
And
and
what drug induced homicide is, when all this happened, also, you go on the internet, I start researching, and come to find out there is a law called drug induced homicide that 25 other states have.
oh my gosh,
Unfortunately, California does not. And so we are looking to get this law here. What that will allow for, if we had this law right now, the drug dealer that sold this poison to Alex would be arrested and behind bars. But since we don't have this law, he's still out there.
what I love that you're doing also is that you're changing people's perceptions. Like, even when you described that she was identified as a drug overdose, it's like that just gets skimmed off to the side, and it's like, oh well, that's a
Yeah,
drug
I'm
overdose.
so glad you brought that up. There is
Yeah.
definitely a misconception out there, and it certainly hurts our cause. And we have to do a good job of changing the narrative,
Yeah.
uh, because to me, my thoughts are an overdose, as tragic as that is as well.
Yes.
In a traditional overdose, the person knows what they're taking, and they willfully or accidentally take too much of it. And that's tragic in itself. What makes this different is Alex did not know what she was being given. She was being told she was given one thing and received another.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
That's
that,
where the crime is, right?
yes,
You're purchasing something, and it's not that. It's
correct.
something else that can kill you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I just simply say she was duped. And
Yeah.
this is happening to thousands of primarily young adults across the country every year right now, tens of thousands,
Yeah.
because this drug called fentanyl is being put in. They're making fake, Alex got a fake Percocet, but there's literally millions of fake Percocets, Xanax, Oxycontin, um, millions of these pills in circulation right now, and they're just pure fentanyl. And people
Yeah.
might be thinking, well, that's crazy. Why would the drug dealers want to kill people? Well, truthfully, they don't. And of these millions of pills out there, they think about 10% of them are lethal enough to kill. 10% of millions is still quite a bit. But the reason these drug dealers are using fentanyl is because of really three things. Fentanyl is highly addictive. Uh, Drug dealer doesn't necessarily want the person dead. They want them hooked and coming back for more.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Fentanyl is very cheap. So whatever he may have got a real Percocet for to sell her, he probably got this fentanyl pill for half the price. So his profits
Yeah.
go up. Drug
Yeah.
dealers are putting profits over people, as I like to say. And then third, it's very easy to smuggle into our country. Even though Alex had roughly enough fentanyl to kill 5 people, still that amount can fit on the tip of a pen. So
Unbelievable.
a
Yeah.
little bit of it goes a long ways, and it's easy to smuggle into our country because of that.
Well, thank you for the work that you're doing. And, I'm wondering like how that, how you get the energy to keep going. Grief is bad enough. It's bad enough. It makes people immobile, grief alone. And then, multiple losses that you guys have had in the last 9 months, regarding family members and so forth. How do you get up? Like, how do you get the energy to do this?
I like to say purpose is the best motivation. And I
Yeah.
feel, you know, not not that I asked for it, but I now have a purpose, and this is it. So
Yeah.
it's driving me crazy in a sense. Little sleep, constantly on my forethought all the time. But right now, these drug dealers need to be held accountable. Drug induced homicide, if we pass that law, they will be held accountable, and they won't be able to be out there continuing to do this. So
Yes.
I want to elaborate a little bit where we are on that. We're working with a state senator, Melissa Melendez. She's working on drafting the legislation. This is something that will come into play next year. And as the next few months unfold, we're going to need to, pretty much rally the troops to get parental support. I know there's lots of other parents out there in my same situation, and we're going to need to, I don't know that pressure is the right word, but we're going to need to work. Everybody's going to have to work with their local state senators and make everybody aware of this bill. And we need to get support on our side.
Yeah. Well, I'll do whatever I can with the grief communities that I'm part of, because we see parents all the time coming in with this exact situation. So, whatever we can do. And when I post this on YouTube, there will be a link in the description of this interview to your .org website.
Great.
So thank you so much for everything you do. And thank you, Christine, in the background, I'm sure. And thank you so much.
There's my Alex.
Oh my gosh.
Picture. That was, we just grabbed one of her pictures real quick. That was, she participated in track and field at Great Oak High School. So that was her track picture.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Wow.
And then even though she was certainly good in sports, she could be a girly girl too. Or she was in her prom dress.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, she's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I will, definitely encourage people to check out your website, to provide signatures if they can, to become really active in this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.